And I saw, because everything connected. For 1 minute, don't mistake for 1 minute. Everything is connected. But you have to know your story. And when I talk about reach the king, I know nothing new is at the Babel Tower psychology. These northern aggressive recessive people always are used for I and I. Divide and rule. And I as Rastafari for put a stop to it and hold to the order. One God, one aim, one destiny, one Rastafari. That is the only way. That is the only way for I and I as a people. We have to in our oneness again. But anyway, may I use the king and I show you how the king I show I and I, the light to I and I, so I and I can see clearly what I and I is up against. So now, the king go and I deal with them strategically behind the scene, enough ones and ones and all. As time goes by, these things are going to come forward because I and I come across information. And not only I and I come across it, I and I have to use up I and I analytics. Can question things when them tell me say the king is this and I question it and look into it. And when I look into it, I find out that the king are propaganda because them don't want I to have that symbol of greatness to extol or to emulate. This is why them fight against Rastafari the way them fight against Rastafari because I see the king and I want to emulate the king. And they don't want that because they know so eventually if I continue in the oneness, eventually I must get powerful. Powerful. And they don't want that. That's why nowadays they have these bagay ones and ones that present themselves, they want to call themselves, claims that them are Rasta, but them are Rastafarians. Because them are work for the master. And them want to handicap I with them for them theology. In them biblical theology, but I create, I want to extract from them Bible, and this is why I declare the king and declare Rastafari. It's I own. They never gave it to us. And I can look on the king as a light because all the king trod. And this is when the king know. Guess what the king do? And this is why the king, I extol the king, you know. The king play them against each other. Because what end up happening? Germany, Hitler kick up Rumpus, and Mussolini end up side with Germany. And guess what now? German desires to conquer all of Europe. And England and France and them recognize that them can't allow that. So guess what now? Ethiopia becomes important again strategically. So this is why them hear the king. And the king show them future and them declare that in the League of Nations. So the match that strike in Ethiopia shall burn and burn all of Europe. And it burned Europe. The prophetic came to pass. But nonetheless, I not harp on that, you know. I just show you why I look to the king and show the king as I light and a light unto the world for I and the diaspora. That's why the rest them will hail the king and see the king as divine. Salute too, because you don't know and over what God is really is. See where I come from? Because it's man who declare God work through I and I. This is why Islam bad with bad, because of them unify and them feed them God and them do what them do. Same thing with Christianity where European take it over and unify and I and do what them do too. And I same thing them with the Jews them too from an earlier time before Christian and Islam, the Abrahamic faith. This is how it came about. When them come, unify and them God Yahweh and destroyed the original, the Canaanites them. The original people of the land and take it over. Are these northern aggressive white people were starting with Noah? Because at this them come from out of the Caucasus mountain when them say Mount Ararat and the Ark. And that are them entrance where them trick about the flood and all of that. And the flood, when them are flooding and coming at the black spaces and them destroy Mesopotamia and all of them places, and eventually it take a time. Same thing with them I do. Same thing with them do. The same Babel psychology. Same little by little, and them divide and take over, divide and take over. Same thing happening in Ethiopia right now. Let me show you what I mean. No, let me continue and finish and show you the king first before me even touch that. So when the king goes up, boom, and show them. Now them realize now say Hitler to conquer the whole of them now. So them come in now to help Ethiopia. But on Ethiopia them help themselves, and the king show them these things. The king show them future behind the scene. And I saw them come in now in that style and watch it now. Let me tell you about England, Let me show you how dangerous England is. When them come in now, them things so them could have son the king and turn the king in a puppet. And the king recognize and show them and go. Them don't want the king stay behind. The king launch out and ride in on him own. And come in and take over in place. And show them say him not plan to be no puppet. And at the same time, strategically again, the king start with America. Because America at the time was neutral. See where I come from? America not colonized nowhere yet. Because then the young are build up and a muscle up themselves. So now them when them bigger, the king aligned with America to get rid of England. And from that moment, when England recognizes you can't son the king or puppeteer the king, the propaganda start. And the intrigue start to try to derail and dethrone the king. But the king that crossed him and that empty. But the problem came, again, trust not your own. I and I worst enemy. The main gizos, school at heart. When they make foreign ideologies enter, they make people educate your children, they will turn on and control you. Because the children is the future, and if education is the key, and if we allow these people continue educating our children, they are going to continue to rule us. This is why I have these intellectual masturbations with long hair, pan them head now, I come and I come chat off them mouth, but say, the king is a great man, and them not see the king as divine and cause confusion. This is their purpose because they're educated as slaves. A slave can never create. A slave have to wait for the master to tell him what to do. And this will separate Rastafari from all of them. All black school at that. Rast is sovereign to I and I, or birth out of I and I struggle. I and I own. They never gave it to us. I and I declare this, and it's important for I and I to recognize what Rastafari is and what the king represents. I now go in at the divine side of the king, I just deal a practical reality, because that's what Rastafari, and I show you the king and how the king strategic, and the king always overcome. Every trap when them set the king, them never want the king. England go against the king. If you go in at the League of Nations, and France and Italy side with the king. And that's how the king coming in the League of Nations with Brazil. Because Brazil was another country in the League of Nations. Vote for the king. And that's how the king get in the league. And this is how the king could have turned around now and put them to task and pronounce them and show I and I said them they will always be who they are. Because they can never love us. Because we're a threat to them. And they represent their survival. And this way I and I have to come recognize now. A survival is the name of the game. And once you get in a survival mode, them can't trick you no more. And this is why you have to know your story. And it's important to learn their story too. Because them connecting, every story come out of I and I story. And once you go and know and study them, then you know. And this is what we are talking about now. When Ethiopia and Eritrea start a kick up rumpus, England step in. And basically them start the federation, a ceasefire. But nonetheless, that allow Eritrea, the Eritrean independence to grow. And this, when the king recognized where I go, and the king goes and step on them, using America. Because America arms the king and help the king defeat. And the king bring back each Eritrean at the fold. See it? And this, but later on now, it kick off again in a Mengistu time, and the war start from them time to 1991. Eritrea get its independence. But actually Eritrea, the problem at Eritrea start from the Muslim then. And it start from when Italy, in a Johannes time, when England again betrayed Johannes and gave Eritrea to Italy. And the port of Massawa now them gonna allow Menelik and them to use the port of Massawa. Because them time them never strong yet. But before them, the Muslims did have all of the ports and lock. And England did want to put a stronghold in the Mediterranean area. I used to be showing you, know, and I show you the difference, how far out these things and where come to be when we see in 1935. It started from in the time of Menelik. Decades before. And this is how Europeans operate. Them think long term while we live for now, they are 100 years from now. When them a plot and scheme. And this is how the king was able, as the master chess player that him is. Sure, I and I say we have to be strategic. Because the king never want to study them and make preparation. Ethiopia would be Ethiopia that it is today, and yet still, it's still end up a fair fight. Right now, as we speak. And this is where the Rastafari them inherit when them going to Ethiopia and Shashamane land. The hatred against the king. Because you have enough of them with the different ethnic groups and them different cultural differences in Ethiopia was against central authority. They want their own tribal rulership or leadership. And this is what Menelik, Johannes, and Tuardus. And them start galvanize and bring in central authority. And the king himself now develop the army, one army. Before you have the different strong warlords them. And when time for war, them join up, either them join up or them side with the enemy to get power. And that many Johannes do. And that Haile Selassie Guska do. And many other ones. Them side with the Italians them. Because they wanted to become the leadership. And end up betray them own. But you have to know these stories. And this is why the king show I and I in him trad. And that's why the king is allied to Iron. And that's why I and I declares Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie the first. Jah Rastafari as I and I divine. And why is I and I divine? Simple, because I and I say so. No more explanation than that. So this is the 133 of the manifestation of the king. And I will continue hail the king. I hold it more, you know, but hopefully this presentation here give ones and the young ones them strength here in the trad. Make you know Rastafari is yours. It's the only thing in the diaspora, the northern aggressive recessive people, them cannot say and cannot claim they gave it to I. But yet still, I and I know with the oneness in diversity, I take the time, I destroy it, and I give them the opportunity to come in to take it over. Rastafarians is the cause of that. Rastafarians is not Rastafari. And this is why Rastafari have to stand up and take control of this thing, because I and I own. It is represent black liberation. Ultimately, foundation Rastafari is black liberation. And all inclusion and oneness in diversity is black liberation, because I and I who bear the pain, it's I and I who feels it. So I never sit down now and come and try to destroy this now. Let them trick on all over again with this oneness and one love. Crap. Ain't no one love. Look how I show you. England. In the record book, it says England help Ethiopia regain its sovereignty. But when they check behind the scene, the different covert move where England are going to play against the king. And England is the part of the propagandists against the king because them couldn't son the king. And America come in because America want a foothold in the Middle East. So them come and the king strategically utilize them to get what he want. To protect him country. So the king did know, but he have to choose one evil over the other. And him choose America because America young. The king is ancient, America young, so he can strategically spin America. While the dragon, the whole they don't see where I go on. And behind the scene, that is England. And they behind the scene, she and the next one were France. The next witch there. Dangerous, the two of them. That's why them always, yeah. England and France. Don't get it twisted. When they are not against each other, they are against everybody and they are one. Don't be fooled by them. It's all about their survival. And it's time I and I start thinking that line. I and I survival. So me I come from. But anyway, we're going to seal it on that. Ones I want to know say Rastafari is black monotheism. One God, one aim, one destiny. Rastafari is Caribbean African diaspora unity. The oneness of I and I people represented. That's why I and I declare the king. The only man will make white people kill off themselves. To put him where he will to be. You have to know these things. And this is what Rastafari is I and I will to be. Them can't tell me nothing. Because we already know them. Because history has proved them that they are not for us. They will use us and use our creativity to build themselves up. And then turn on and kick in our face if we allow them. Enough these slave-minded ones around here are dogs. They are trained. This is what they are. Them train them and they obey them master like a dog. I and I a lion. Can't tame I and I. Yes, I. So until such time again, give thanks for lending here. You don't know where I see it up, Jah Rastafari without apology.